It is Thursday night. Came to you a couple days late, but nevertheless, your boys from the Sick Podcast still showed up. And tonight we're going to do our first mock. Probably way too early to mock, but we're gonna do our first mock, and then we're only gonna do 3 rounds. Okay. So we'll do that. We got a couple clips to talk about from the players that have signed and what they have said. So we'll discuss that as well. But it should be a fun show. And unlike me, I hope that you're doing well with your tournament thus far, because my bracket might be already busted, but that's for neither here or there, and that's for another time. So, Sammy, start me up.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. And Bill Show.
Intercepted! Marlon Jackson! Marlon's got it! We're going to the Super Bowl! We're going to the Super Bowl! Marlon Jackson with the interception! He picked off Tom Brady!
The sickest Indianapolis Colts podcast. It's gonna be sick.
It is going to be sick. Where did DI go already? We just got him, and he left.
I don't know.
Unacceptable behavior. Well, let me go ahead and officially start, and then maybe he'll come in whenever he decides to show up for work. Oh boy, look who decided to show up. That is the official sound of the anvil. That means that your favorite show about the Colts is live and it is hot. Share, YouTube, Facebook, all the things. Welcome, boys. Good evening, Kevin. How are you fellers doing tonight?
Doing good. How are you?
You know, I can't complain.
Glad to hear it.
It is tournament time, and Louisville's already screwed me. Check. Clemson screwed me. Check. Omaha, those programs.
Omaha!
ACC decided to show up and not show out, but I'm a Duke fan, so they'll hold it down for us all. But that's neither here or there. Nevertheless, let's talk Colts football.
Sure about that?
Okay. Well, wait. Who's your team?
UNC.
The team that we beat 3 times, the first 4. You're a first 4 guy.
Hey, even a broken clock is right twice a day.
What's up, Cody? You damn right. Let's go, Duke brotherhood. Yeah, I don't know what this UNC. How we let this UNC guy on the panel? What the fuck? I wish I would have known that before he decided to come over. We'd have left your ass where you were. Pat, what are you doing?
I don't know.
God,
I really
I'm not gonna take any slander from somebody who still puts the before their social media stuff.
Wow. Okay. All right, CJ Talk or whatever the hell your name is.
Okay. Hey, make sure you tell the people where they can find you on the X.
Who cares where I can be found on the X? That's what that's about. Who cares? No, I'm just kidding. The X is important. The X is important, even though the owner is not. Never mind. That's neither here nor there. We will keep this light. Fellas, did you do your homework? Did you mock a 3? I look like Pat is mocking right now, aren't you?
I 100% mocking.
DEI strikes again. See,
I've been so damn busy today. I totally forgot.
This is why those emails went out. Hey, can you please tell us what you do? Because we don't know what you do. See, it's you. You getting everybody in trouble. It's you. But anyway, do your homework now. Yeah, be that guy. Be that guy. But yeah, before we get into the mock, because again, it's tournament time, so I don't want to hold anybody. This is a very fun time. I got some buddies over right now. They're watching the games. But let's talk about some people that we've signed and the things that they have said. So we have a clip to run. Sammy, can you run a clip from Mr. Mooney?
Go, and the better I be.
You mentioned, you respect your game. Do you have a sense for kind of like why they were so into you, why they felt like you were like a good fit here?
Because I'm a great player. I would assume that's why. Yeah.
I mean, can you break down why you're a great player?
I can press, I can tackle, I can play off. I can try with the best receivers. I feel like I can do it all as a corner. My game is versatile, and I just feel like I'm a CB1, a great cornerback.
What do you know about the system that Lou wants to run, and what do you think you fit well in it?
I think I can fit it. Like I said, I'm versatile. I think I can fit in any scheme. I think he said he's gonna let me travel with the best receivers, so He gonna let me press. He gonna let me do my thing, be physical, be aggressive, and just be me. Be that guy that they paid me to be.
Now let me open the door with that one because Chris, this fits your bill.
Yes.
I'm not saying that Mr. Ward is one of those players that are like, fringe, like, oh, kind of a bad boy, whatever. Not at all. But what I am saying is he didn't come in here with this typical, let me say the right things. Let me be very poetic in the sense that, hey, I'm happy to be here. I'm going to be a good player for this team. Like he came in here with some swag, some confidence. Some will say he was a little cocky. And I would be the first to say, I fucking like this because we ain't had a guy that talked with that type of passion or confidence in a very long time. So with that pickup, I'm going to let you take it, Chris. Tell me how you felt after hearing Charvarius speak like he spoke. Or maybe Chris is going through something.
I love having a guy that is oh no. Can you hear me?
You're kind of frozen.
I'm frozen.
You're definitely frozen. Okay.
Can you hear me?
Kind of. Yeah, we hear you.
Yeah, there we go. Okay, can you hear and see me now? Okay.
Better.
So I'm just gonna say I love it because I don't think we've had a guy like we haven't seen somebody like that who's been able to come in and just be like, listen, we're gonna punch him and we're gonna punch him in the mouth. And the fact that he's saying that he wants to travel with the best wide receiver, I love it because at the end of the day, it's just like that's what you expect somebody that you're paying that amount of money to. If he would have just came in and just be like, I love the organization, I love the building already, this, that, and the other, I'm gonna sit there and look at it like, oh God, we might be in trouble. But when I hear that, I'm like, oh yeah, we got our CB1. And I'm like that's what I think we've kind of been asking for outside of the 1 year we had Gilmore. That's what we've been asking for to get something consistent when it comes down to secondary, having a CB1 and having somebody who is going to be able to potentially be a shutdown every single Sunday.
No, that's legit, bro. And I think you have to start with the division, right? So you definitely know Nico Collins down in Houston. Brian Thomas Jr. emerged last year in Jacksonville, and you still got to respect Ridley until you don't, because I think Calvin can still be solid. So now having a guy that's like, look, I don't care who the challenge is, I'm taking it and I'm going with that person is legit. And we know that we're not just going to be falling into soft zones and hoping and praying like we've done in the past. And the other thing that he said, you know what I mean, that wasn't in that clip. He said it in another time. He was like, I don't worry about getting beat. Like, I was like, wait a minute, how am I really, listening to him say that? And basically what he's saying, like, every play is a new play, right? You win some, you lose some, but I'm a line up every time like I'm the better player. And I'm like, bro, we have not had a dog speak so confidently about their ability. And shit, I can't even remember when. Probably way before the social media, boom. I'm sure Bob Sanders probably felt like that as a safety and some other players. But I'm saying during this time where everything is viral, we've always had clean cut guys. Even Kenny, who's a dog, he just carries himself in such a professional manner all the time. You don't really see that demon come out or hear that demon come out until he's actually on the field and you see what he does. But this dude is like, I'm here to let it be known. I don't think the Colts have had a player like this, and I am that player. So, Pat, I kick it to you. How do you feel about a little bit of confidence and cockiness from a CB1?
Well, first of all, I want everybody to pay attention to the last part of that question. And if you recognize the voice who said it, that was James Boyd.
Oh, yeah, Romeo the Kid.
Romeo the
Kid.
Kid on Twitter. He's a writer for The Athletic. And I have been giving him props for a while now for the questions that he does ask. He asks some very hard questions. To me, this question about what makes you that player was a very cocky question. And I loved it. I loved that he had the chest to stand there and say, okay, you say you're the player, but what makes you the player? Yeah. And then to turn around and for Ward to fire off the answer that he did. Oh Lord, for a defensive guy, that made my hair stand up, and I'm bald.
Don't get
I was
weird
about
now.
to say it's just
So
like major scout stand up.
Yeah. I absolutely loved it, and I'm looking at it like,
Let's not get too crazy.
Yeah.
Now
Yes.
that this is the thing, and I've said this about Z before. You're gonna walk the walk, you got to talk, or you're gonna talk the talk, you got to walk the walk.
Fair.
Now I'm gonna hold him accountable to that because that's what he said.
Yeah.
And I think he will walk the walk. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And like you said, Clyde, with him at back there, I'm not concerned of the deep ball anymore.
I mean, shit. You got to think about how we got consistently like Nico Collins was becoming what T.Y. Hilton was for us against us. Like meaning like T.Y. Hilton used to cook Houston. Now Nico Collins was coming and cooking us, and I was like, I don't like this. Like,
Yeah.
I don't like this feeling at all. And so I think that honestly, he's going to elevate the play of the young guys. I think Juju Brents realizes like, well, maybe this pressure I had to be this, highly drafted corner, second round guy, like I'm the dude now. Maybe I can like kind of grow into my role, but I got a dog that's teaching me how to get it done. Jalen Jones, who you love, I think I'm still kind of on the fence. And when you look at his PFF grades, I mean, it grades out much better than maybe sometimes it looks on the field. Like maybe it was just me like getting caught up in how he had to play in the scheme. I'm like, bro, I don't see what everybody sees, but he made plays here and there. He had a game with 2 picks, that type of thing. But I think that he can now be more confident, because Lou is going to let him be more of himself, aggressive, hands-on, all that.
Yeah.
But he's got this guy who's as soon as we hit the sideline, hey, bro, that was this was that, do this, blah, 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 blah. Like the communication going to be, and then you got Kenny that's already a dog and a vet in this nickel slot that's really like, yo, I'm a nickel again. Like, I ain't got to worry about none of this crazy shit no more. I'm a true nickel again, and I'm going to do my damn job. And I think we're going to elevate to new levels.
Now,
And let me just say this too. Also, and
go
like,
ahead.
and I think we've talked about this, right? Because we've talked about how Juju, Jalen Jones, taller, rangier corners, they don't have the best speed, but the thing is, they can be physical when they need to be. And what I said previous to this, and this is something that Pat always tried to give me hell for, but now we'll possibly be able to see that in fruition. Having a cornerback that is closer to a physical prototype of what we already have than what we have with Kenny in terms of what he does. The mentorship that he's going to be able to provide is different now because Ward is another guy, 6'2", great speed. And mind you, as he said in his press conference, he can play man, he can play zone, and he can play press. Now you have 2 young corners who are going to be able to learn from him because they have a similar type to what it is that we have now at that CB1 spot. So that's what I meant when we talked about veteran cornerback, because now you got that veteran who now is going to be able to potentially go ahead and speed up the development of those guys because they're going to be able to learn a hell of a lot from him. And it's not just going to be, them learning on the fly. They're going to be able to learn because they're not going to be forced into a position where they have to be a CB1 just because.
And learning the position at the same time.
Exactly.
I agree wholeheartedly.
Now, if you guys, what I was getting ready to say, if you guys remember a few show backs where I was talking, I want that Ray Lewis middle linebacker guy.
Mm-hmm.
He's the focal point of your defense. He's your hype man. He's your everything. Ward seems like he's going to take up that role with the way he was answering those questions.
Oh, yeah.
Now, he is physical. Now, he's not a middle linebacker. I get that. But mentality is everything. Mindset over everything. And so far, this guy seems like he's got it.
Now, let me ask you this, though. Because these are the things that I generally don't like to bring up, especially when it's a player like him. But I can't help it because of the news about potentially what may or may not happen when it comes to Trey Hendrickson. But we just signed him, talking AP Mooney here. And we signed him for, was it 3 years, 4 years? 3-year deal?
I
think it was a 3-year deal, I believe.
3-year deal. Okay. And correct me if I'm wrong, I believe he turns 29 before season starts. I think he's 29 in the next couple months. How much does that play into, like your thought process, like is it? I mean, of course, gifted physically, yes. As the younger the player, the better. But do you think that some of his skill set may have diminished just because he's a 28, almost 29-year-old corner? Like once we get him,
At this particular junction, I'm
Mhm.
going to say no.
Mm.
And I won't age a player out until their talent ages themselves out.
Okay.
If that makes sense. They
Fair
have
enough.
to physically start
Yeah.
going downhill before I start talking about their age.
just saying, oh, well, they're 30.
Yeah,
so
just
downhill.
because he's,
Yeah.
31, 32 doesn't mean he can't get the job done and done extremely well. Look at Gilmore. How old was Gilmore when he came to us? I think he was 32.
He was like 30, 32, 33.
Yeah. And
Was he
he
that
Might have
old?
been a,
Jesus Christ.
he was,
Yeah.
yeah.
he still played at a very, very, very high level
All right, fair
and
assessment.
played very high level in Dallas.
Yeah, he was playing solid there too.
Now,
Okay.
Yeah.
got burned a couple
Minute-
times, but
yeah.
that's part of the game. You
Minnesota
don't
too.
win them all.
Yeah, that's fair. No, okay, and I think, and I only brought that up because I mean we're just taught to start thinking about that way earlier than we should, right? Like we've seen our core, if you want to say that, the guys that Chris Ballard drafted, the JTs, now the Quentin Nelsons, he got DeForest Buckner pretty young. Like all those guys are aging a little bit, and we're like, damn, did we miss some of their better years? Like losing. They're still performing, they're still dogs, but it's like we putting this team together now, and are we a year or two behind the power curve? Like we would have potentially made a run a couple years back had Ballard been as aggressive now. I mean, all that's hypothetical, but I'm just saying, like we've talked about many times, Pat, like these guys are getting no younger. You know what I'm saying? So getting a guy that's a dog and he's 28, 29 years old, I'm going to try my damnedest, if he gets beat a play, if he looks bad a game, 2 games, whatever, like, oh, well, see, now he's 29 years old and football years, that's fucking ancient, right? So yeah, I'm gonna just keep it what it is. I'm gonna just wish nothing but positivity and health for these guys, and hey, go out there and compete because I seen that, and this is kind of transition, but not truly, but like the Texans just extended Daniil Hunter, giving him another year, making him like now the 3rd highest paid guy or some shit like that.
Yeah, like $35 million for 1 year.
$35 million for 1 year, yeah.
Which, most people say, okay, well, now that's really going to open Trey's eyes. I'm like, well, look, I led the league in sacks last year, and that's what I want. But Daniil is actually like 2 months older than Trey. So both will turn 31 in season. I think Daniil like October and Trey like December. But still, I'm sitting there thinking like, okay, I know the Bengals probably are not going to end up, they're going to have to fold. They're not going to get a first round. But I'm saying, like, are we going to throw $35 million at a 30-year-old dude? Like, Jesus Christ. And plus, he's going to want a new deal. So I think the deal has to be at least 3 years to make it make sense for everybody. Right.
Yeah.
So now we're looking at a 34-year-old guy. Yeah.
It definitely has to make sense with the cap. But again, man, is he just one of those freak people like Frank Gore that never aged, got stronger as the older he got?
Or look at old boy. What's the defender that's been playing forever? The big guy.
Vaughn Miller?
No. Fuck. He was at Jacksonville for years. What is his name?
Calais Campbell.
Calais Campbell. Yeah. Jesus Christ. He's like 39 years old going into this season and still makes a difference in the middle. Right. So, I'm not here to age these guys and say, we should have did that sooner. But I just wanted to bring that up because I think that sometimes that becomes a point of contention. But okay. Let's fast forward.
It does because it's a matrix that is always pounded to us.
Pounded is wild work, but like that's absolutely
but you know what I'm saying, that matrix of somebody's age. Oh well, we decided not to go after him because he was 30 years old.
Facts. What's up, Eddie? What's up, Ronnie, Teresa, Stacy? How y'all doing? Okay, but yeah, let's jump into the mock. Hey, Pat, you did your work last, so yours is the freshest.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like this mock draft. I want to redo.
It's only 3 rounds. This is mock 1.0. Way too early to call it, but why not? So with the 14th pick, and mind you, we didn't do none of that trading shit. So get all that out there.
What?
See,
You sure about that?
We don't do
I
that.
was gonna say I got the number 1 pick.
That's way too hypothetical.
The
But
number
anyway.
1 pick.
No, I'm teasing.
Yeah, right.
I stayed at
Boy,
14.
well, his is going to be short.
Yeah,
He
he
got
gave
the
up
number 1
everybody.
pick. Yeah.
We don't have a team next year. But with the 14th pick, the Indianapolis Colts select who? Patrick
Campbell.
Jahad Campbell out of
Jahad
Alabama.
Campbell, Alabama, middle
Tell me
linebacker.
why.
He is the guy that I believe will come in the door and make a difference right away.
I can't.
He's not somebody that you're going to have to coach up a lot. You got to refine him. He's a rookie. Absolutely got to coach him. But this kid is a ball hawk. He can smell it and he can get to it.
See,
and damned you getting in the way.
Okay, I'm going to definitely say something when it's
I
my
know
turn.
because you don't understand hillbilly language.
I probably don't, but
probably for good reason. For good reason. Like it's
with the first round pick, or with the 14th pick in the first round, the Indianapolis Colts select who? Chris.
Will Campbell.
Will Campbell or Will Johnson?
Oh, what? I'm sorry, Will Johnson. My bad. I'm thinking. I wanted. So here's the thing. I wanted Jahad Campbell, but Jahad Campbell was taken. So Will Johnson, yes.
Will Johnson,
quarterback from Michigan, yes.
The cornerback out of Michigan, as you see back there.
Yes, and with that one, I think I want Jahad Campbell, but for me personally, you get Will Johnson. You've now put yourself in position to have a very stout secondary, where just like what you guys were talking about for a couple minutes ago, if for some reason, like I said, Ward, like I said, we have him on a 3-year deal. If he ages out, you have a young secondary behind him who's going to be able to come in and really probably won't skip a beat. Like you're going to have younger guys, like you have Jalen, you have Brent. We still don't know exactly whether Juju. I want Juju there. To me, he's CB2, but the thing is he has to be on the field enough to prove that he's CB2. But the thing is, if for some reason, let's just say Brent doesn't pan out, I think you still absolutely getting Johnson provide you with somebody who's going to be able to come in from jump and be able to play. But then also he's not going to have to be just put in the position where he's going to have to be the number one corner, guarding the number one guys automatically. Ward already said that he's trailing number ones regardless. So I can see Will Johnson being able to play in a Quinion Mitchell type of role where Quinion Mitchell was able to come in. Darius Slay still took the majority of the number ones. But then Mitchell was able to go and just play those number twos. But then when he was called on to do it, it was natural for him. Like he was able to naturally progress and develop throughout the season. So I think that's what happens with Johnson in this defense. So I think to me, it's that's a good pick.
So let me ask you, in the spirit of people getting paid tons of money, again, the Houston Texans just extended their star corner, Mr. Stingley Jr. Does Will Johnson have that same, in your eyes, pizzazz that Stingley had coming out of LSU? And now we've seen it on the field, even though we've seen him get beat by like a drum by AP several times, but those plays didn't get connected on. But that's neither here or there.
Don't forget AD also.
And AD cooked him too. That's neither here nor there.
Cooked him like hibachi.
That's neither here nor there. But I'm saying for you, is Will Johnson have that same flair as a Stingley Jr.?
So the thing is, I don't think he has the same flair as Stingley Jr. because to me personally, when you have like a Stingley Jr. who's coming out of LSU, who came off that team, you have a little bit more to you. I think you have a little bit extra because of where you're coming from and where you're going from. Like the thing is, for example, right? Like we know, and Clyde, just get over yourself, okay? When it comes to Ohio State, what
the team that can't beat Michigan?
State?
Oh, okay. I got you.
When it comes to I'm not an Ohio State.
No, the team that won the national championship.
But either way, let's get back to it. So the thing is, with Ohio State, it's the one thing that you almost always know is that when you get a wide receiver from Ohio State, 9 times out of 10, they're absolutely going to pan out. That's the reputation. That's what you're going to get. The same way when it comes to LSU, generally, wide receivers and cornerbacks are generally going to be able to pan out. So the thing is, for me, it's just like Stingley has that history kind of working for him in that case. Whereas, like I said, Will Johnson is going to be going into that with his play. We know Will Johnson can play. Like, I think to me,
He
it's just
missed a
like
lot
Will
of last
Johnson.
year too. He missed a lot
I
of
mean,
last year.
and that's fine because the thing is, I think outside of last year, it's just like he's been able to still play. I think last year was the only year that he really missed time like that, right?
Yeah.
So the thing is, for me, it's just like I think that's more of like a flash in the pan than I'm gonna say a pattern. So, like I said, and not only that, but also he's not going to be CB1.
Fair.
So let him develop, let him progress, and also there's nothing like Ballard preached competition at his end of the year presser, and there's not going to be any better competition than going and drafting a guy when you have somebody like Brent, who we know could potentially take CB2, but he can't stay on the field, and somebody like Jalen Jones, who's been able to play enough by default and play well enough. Like, if you want to breed competition, get Will Johnson and see how competitive that CB room becomes.
Fair enough. Okay.
I like it.
I'm with it. Okay. So, with the 14th pick in the first round, Clyde says the Indianapolis Colts select, and
You
y'all
better not
probably
say
already know.
offensive tackle.
Absolutely not. We select tight end Tyler Warren from the Penn State University. Okay, because here's why. Remember, this is the way too early to
Penn
call
State
it.
University.
This is the way too early to call it mock. But in the event, there's some of the things that are said to be happening behind the scenes. Like if the Colts find a way to bring in Isaiah Simmons, who was this freak of nature, kind of like Jahad Campbell coming out of Clemson a few years ago, and they thought that they could do all this exotic stuff with him. Had a couple good years in Arizona, then got traded to New York. Kind of been, here and there in New York. But if we can come in and bring that person in, I think then it's not saying that we don't need linebackers, because I believe that we do. But then that changes how you draft, because now you're looking at glaring needs versus like to haves. Like right now, I think that we definitely need to have a linebacker, but I'm making this draft off of somebody like Isaiah Simmons comes in, or Kaiser,
Kaiser White.
Kaiser White comes in, or something like that.
Product.
Yeah, right. So those type of things are where we are now, because it's the way too early. So for me, I think that Tyler Warren is a must-have, because you need to develop the quarterback. You need to even have an outlet if said quarterback is the other guy, Mr. Dimes. You still need to have that outlet that can give him what he needs. And I mean, this guy was an absolute monster last year. The Mackey Award winner, got all the numbers and accolades you can ever even come up with when it comes from a tight end. And I think that his ability to do other things on the field, he's a two-way type player, meaning he can block, meaning he can definitely run routes. I mean, he was a quarterback in high school, so you want to get gadget or gimmick type stuff. He can do a little bit of that. He showed that he could do some of the wildcat shit, and maybe you take that off of Anthony Richardson all the time when you need short yardage. There's a lot of things that can happen by just having a versatile player like that. And so for me, that's the pick. And honestly, I think I'm also leaning toward, there's been too many times where it's like, this is a no-brainer, Ballard. Do the no-brainer thing. Don't be Ballard and do the Ballard thing like, oh no, this guy's the guy. Like, just pick the guy. You know what I mean? And so I think that this is it. But dominoes may fall. Some say they got him as high as 7. Some have him at 10 or 11. Who fucking knows, right? But if he's there, he's my pick. Okay.
Yeah.
So now we'll go round robin. We'll go the other way. We'll start with me in round 2, pick 45, I believe. Now I go get my linebacker, and it's actually where they sent Lou yesterday out to UCLA, and we pick up Carson Schweschinger. I think that's how you say it. Schweschinger.
Worcestershire.
Yeah, that guy. Worcestershire.
There you go.
Listen, this kid, though he's slightly undersized, he fits that I need a Swiss Army knife who can run, tackle, cover, just be in the right place. I can blitz him. He gets lost in the shuffle because he's, smaller and that type of thing, but his football IQ is off the charts. And I feel like if we're not going to have the ability to take a Jahad Campbell, oh, by the way, Pat, I don't know if you know this, but he had a surgery or something after the combine, right? So I think
Surgery
that's
on
going
torn
to,
labrum.
yeah. I think that it's going to play with his draft stock a little bit. Nothing
Good,
crazy.
good. Nobody pick him. Let him fall.
Because I've
Let
seen him.
fall.
I seen a mock that was insane. It had him at like 28. I'm like, what the fuck? I don't think he's falling all the way to that point. But I'm saying, I still like Carson coming out of UCLA, and you putting him in that EJ Speed role with a little bit more youth and a little bit more speed and a little bit more ranginess. And I think you got something there. So that's where I went with my second round pick. And I will punt it over there to you, CJ, with the second round pick 45. I believe the Colts select who?
With that pick, we're actually going to pick up Mason Taylor, tight end out of LSU.
Interesting.
Yes.
Okay.
Now hold
So-
on. Here's proof. That's the same pick I've got for
Your
my
screen,
second pick.
your screen is just clear. We couldn't see it, but
I'll send it to you then.
We'll say
Bruh.
whatever. But okay. Is there a synopsis that you want to? Because I thought, unless he's gone, I was for sure you were a Fannin Jr. type pick. But was he gone in your mock?
Well, so actually, he wasn't. He wasn't gone. I
Interesting.
think so. So what I'm looking at when it comes down to the tight end pick, right? Because for me, I like Fannin Jr. I like Fannin Jr. more as, I'm going to say, more of a pure receiver type. Like, I think he's a little bit deceptive. But the thing for me is that Mason Taylor he's a good receiving tight end, but also he's a big enough guy where he's going to be able to help with blocking. Now, the reason why I
Definitely
think of that is because now we're going to be looking at potentially having, I'm going to say having the line. I don't know exactly how it looks right now, but the line might, I'm going to say, take a little bit of a step back. So how do you make sure that you remedy that? You make sure you have a tight end who's able to go ahead and provide you with some blocking, help with people who are going to be able to do it. So for me, it's just like Mason Taylor. He is a guy who's going to be able to do some blocking. He's going to be able to be like a block and release tight end. And to me, it's just like I believe he's going to fit perfectly with this team because of the fact that he can actually just go ahead and just be that outlet that Chris Ballard was talking about, somebody to exploit the middle. So, I think when it comes to tight end, and of course, like Tyler Warren wasn't there, Loveland was gone. So I think for me, it's just like Mason Taylor was that guy. Like Harold Fannin would probably be like my fourth in that case, but I think I'm taking Taylor like with that second round pick.
So let me ask you this thing, Chris. Taking him there and what's already in the locker room, barring no changes. So we know Granson's gone, we know Mo Alley's gone, but you still have Drew Ogletree, you still got Jelani Woods, unsure about what will or will not, become of him. So does Mason immediately become your one? He's your TE1?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Because I don't think there's any.
Interesting.
So the thing is, there's and this is the issue that I've had when it's come to Chris Ballard, right? It's just like you draft guys late in a room with guys who are already late draft picks anyway. So now what happens is you have a bunch of late round picks basically jockeying for a position, saying, okay, well, we'll get in where we do. But the thing now is that you have somebody in a room. You have Mason Taylor. You have Mason Taylor, who's going to be a second round pick, who's going to come in, and he's basically putting these guys on notice. Because honestly, in that room right now, you have Ogletree, Mallory, Jelani Woods. Jelani Woods is probably the highest draft pick that we have in that room.
I always forget about Mallory.
Yeah, and he's the highest pick that we have in that room, and even he hasn't necessarily proven himself. If Mason Taylor comes in and plays a full season, and even if he has some bumps and bruises here and there, he's still going to be better than what we have in that room. And guys are going to have to step up. Because the thing is, like I said, Ogletree last year, I like Ogletree, inconsistent. Mallory can't stay on the field. When he's on the field, he does some good things. But once again, he can't stay on the field. Jelani Woods, we haven't seen him on the field since Matt Ryan was here.
Oh my God.
So the thing is, Mason Taylor is the de facto TE1. like
It's nuts.
no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Everybody else is basically fighting to see whether or not they can beat TE2 or whether they could potentially go ahead and beat him out. Otherwise, it's open season.
I like where you're going with that. Remember that. All right, Pat. Round 2, pick 45. Indianapolis selects who?
Same guy, Mason Taylor.
Oh,
Same guy. See, and that's why I tried to show you proof before that.
DEI is a lie. What? I'm just kidding. Let me chill the fuck out. Go ahead.
Before I go into the why I went with him with our second pick, I want to just say I am very comfortable with this tight end room that we have. This pick was a pick of not necessarily a need, but because everybody's screaming about tight ends right now, I just picked him. But it was a forced pick. If that's, I still think Drew Ogletree can be a tight end 1 if you utilize him that way. Okay, he had 14 targets last year. That's it, 14 targets, Chris. And you say he's inconsistent. I don't see it. I seen him drop 1 pass last year. It was an end zone pass. He should have caught it, absolutely. But that's the only one I can remember out of the 14 passes that were thrown at him. To me, that is not good enough stats to push him down the line. I see past stats is what I'm saying.
You just like the big teddy bear in the back. Like, oh, come on, I still love you. You don't do shit
absolutely.
We should have let you go a long time ago, but I just love you.
We got Ogletree. We got Jelani if he can stay on the field. We got Mallard.
Matt Ryan, Pat.
No,
2 years.
I said if he can stay on the field.
I was the biggest Jelani fan ever. You remember when I did my little thing, like when I was like, reviewing the guys, like Jelani Woods to me, I was like, oh my God, this dude has so much potential. Blah, 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 6'7". He's an instant nightmare. The matchup, all the thing. Bro, blown.
I'm right there with you.
Quads?
And
Quads,
he started his collegiate career as a quarterback.
Facts.
So I'm looking at the playbook that you can do with this guy.
Yeah, well.
And they haven't done it because he ain't staying on the field. Trust me, I get all that.
All right.
I do. Okay. But I did like Mason for that all-around talent.
Fair.
He can block. He's got good speed. He's got good separation. He's got good hands. Is he going to be tight end 1? I don't know. But it would definitely bring competition into that tight end group. And like Chris always says, competition makes us better.
All right. Well, in round 3, Chris, I think that's pick 80. The Indianapolis Colts select who?
All right. Well, the thing is, this guy was available, even though initially I actually
and if you take my guy again, I'm going to have a conniption.
I bucked the homework and I traded down.
But let me Omaha him.
But I did it. But you know what? But the thing is, I only moved down 5, so I just want to go ahead. I just want to let it be known. I'm sure that Pat doesn't have this guy. But I'm actually no. There's no hypotheticals here. I'm going Alfred Collins, D lineman out of Texas.
You are shitting me.
Oh, come on, Pat.
That is not who I got.
Okay, I was about to tell you to chill the fuck out. All right, give us your synopsis on this guy. I mean, you just had to do the Chris Ballard thing and get some defensive linemen. Okay, let's talk about it.
Well, so the thing is right now, you have, I love Buckner. I love Grove. But the thing is, there's no denying the fact that Titus Leo ain't on this team no more.
I'm just kidding. I'm just saying.
That man is not here.
He's gone. He's gone.
But you know what? The thing is, we have Buck and Grove, and we have. I mean, to me, you maybe got some potential with Ade, but he's not able to. I'm gonna say cement himself.
Well, so Pat loves him too.
Yeah, no, I do. He signed some stuff for me in training
That's
camp,
my
so that was amazing.
prince.
Yes, but no, but the thing is when we're talking about like D linemen, especially like somebody like him, like 6'5", 320, I think you got somebody who's going to be able to, I'm going to say once again, just have the mentorship behind those guys, and then eventually just get to the point where you're either rotational or that you're just coming in. And so that's the reason why, like, if we're going, like, I don't want our D line to ever be in the disarray that it was, because there was a time where we had edge and we didn't have D tackle, and then we didn't have edge or D tackle. So the thing is now, since we know that we have guys who are kind of aging out a little bit, then now you know that if you have a guy like Collins, he's potentially going to be able to go ahead and just rotate in until you feel like Grove isn't where he needs to be anymore, or until you feel like Buck may not be his normal Buckner self.
You picked up
So
Neville
I think
too.
with him, no, we absolutely did, and that's the reason why it's just like having that type of depth, especially at D tackle, knowing that you have guys who are getting older. That's
Stop
how
the
you
run.
make sure you don't put yourself in a bad position. And honestly, it's just like that's the way that the Eagles have been able to be successful. They make sure that they have a mixture of veteran guys, they draft guys, and they may pick guys up, which is the reason why they lost Milton Williams in free agency, and they still have Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis. And I don't think they'll even skip a beat when it comes down to having the production in the interior D line that they did this past season.
Yeah, not to mention, like was it Brandon Graham? He's retiring too, or whatever it was. So yeah, they're losing their guys. But I mean, and then also the Eagles on like the, actually fully, award contracts to like 2034 too. So I mean, they're getting all these people for dirt cheap because they don't pay them till fucking 10 years from now. But they got the science masters from the tush push to when we pay
years,
void
years, like
yeah, facts. It's insane. But I'm gonna give credit when credit's due because they just won the championship. So no hate towards the Birds. But okay, Pat. Round 3, pick 80. Who you got?
I got Marcus Mbow.
Sounds like you just did your homework. You know nothing about this guy. But
tell us why. He's a tackle out of Purdue. And listen, when we do our full 7 rounds
for every team, like you like to do, absolutely not.
Yes.
Insane.
If Jihad Campbell isn't there at 14, and Starks is, I want Starks. Past that, I want everything offensive.
Okay.
We got to bring in.
But wouldn't you want a guard
good,
versus a
talented,
tackle?
Some good talented help to help Anthony.
Okay, but I'm saying, in this pick, wouldn't you want a guard? Because I think right guard is the only question mark. I mean, a lot of people are like, okay, well, Tanner will be starting, but I think that he's ready, right? Like he just got to have his.
I do too.
And
it's Braden Smith that worries me.
Oh,
because he was very inconsistent. Had a lot of issues that we were told. He's got personal issues. He's staying behind. Da 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 da.
Yeah,
and we never figure anything out like that. They restructured his contract. If he's there and he's healthy and he's mentally available on Sundays, yeah, you got to go with him. But he's not. He is no longer a long-term answer for that right tackle.
Yeah.
So bringing in some younger talent, study behind him, good rotation piece if needed.
Okay. I mean, I'm not,
and kind of that's where I'm going. So if we did more of the draft, I'm getting more weapons for Anthony after 14.
Okay, fair enough.
Just because of the way free agency went.
Say less. Okay. Well, when in round 3, pick 80, Clyde was actually torn because there were a ton of players that were available, all different, vectors of this team that could be improved. And I was kind of like, before I tell you who I pick, I was kind of like, okay, should we do, the Belichick, late 2000 teens, or not that 2000 teens, but late 2000s, when he was like, you know what, I'm going to draft Gronk and I'm going to draft Hernandez. So I had thought like, okay, I took Warren. Now I'm going to take Mason, like, Chris took in round 2 because he was still available in my draft. I'm like, all right, now you got tight end 1 and 2, and it's a fight between Ogletree, Jelani, Will Mallory for 3, and you really don't care who loses out, because at that point, you're conditioned very well at 1 and 2. That's the way I saw that. And then I was like, oh God, but what about corner? And I was like, but I like Kobe Bryant out of Kansas. 6 foot, athletically freakish, makes plays. He does take risks, but he likes to come up and tackle. He's a physical guy for his stature, only like 6 foot, 175. I was like, he would definitely work into a loose system. Maybe he plays into that nickel slot, as CJ has said, as these guys age out. It's a seamless transition. But then I couldn't help myself. I was like, nope, I gotta pick this guy.
Longest damn pick I've ever heard.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Like this draft is deep in certain areas, right? Like in the first round or so, it's kind of like, okay, take your guy. But then when you really think about what your team needs, like you can really get into the weeds. And so I was like, well, we only signed Khalil Herbert for 1 year, right? And I think he's a solid back and all that shit. But that fucking dog out of ASU is staring me in the face. So I took Cam Scatterbo as my in third round. And I got value because
that was worth the time that we spent to get to this pick. But yeah, I like it.
I mean, because I didn't do my shit as I heard the damn hammer bang.
Well, if you did, maybe it would come along faster. We could have ended the show 10 minutes ago.
Any fucking way. Anyway, so I looked at that and I was like, and I'm getting value here because like most drafts have him mocked later, like 94, 95, right around 100. I'm like, I'm getting him at 80. Maybe I am shooting it off a little early, but I'm like, at the same token, I'm like, bruh, pause.
Thanks, Chris.
Pause. But I think still, Chris, but I think
you
you could have a real 1-2 punch. I mean, because JT is going into year 6, but JT had a lot of miles coming out of Wisconsin. He really ain't missed a beat, even with the ankle. And so I think you could still, feel JT as your RB1 well up until he's actually 30 years old. But you put a dog like that behind him, he got that Mike Allstott feel to him. He's just much smaller as far as height. Like, this dude's a monster, bro. He could do so much on the field. I was like, and we haven't had a 1-2 punch like that in the Colts backfield, maybe never. And I was like, he's too good to pass up. So I took Cam Scatterbo in round 3. And I think that my draft is better than both of y'all. So that's just me now. But
it's not, but cool.
Bruh.
I think we did all great pick. I mean, Pat was just picking names, but whatever. I mean, it's cool, Pat.
Okay, first of all, I wasn't just picking names.
Hey, man. Hey.
I was doing it late, but I've done 1,000 of these prior.
Hey, brother. It's okay. First off, I never noticed that you had a Colts chair. Where can I get that?
Well, believe it or not, I won this at the Colts cookout provided by the Colts Caveman.
Oh, yeah. Well, give me one. My birthday's next month.
You got to come to the cookout.
Okay. All right. Let's do some quick advertising before we get out of here. April the 13th. 13th. Josh Downs camp. I don't know if you have registered your child, but please register your child. And it's also going to be an amazing event because the Sick Podcast will be helping for year 2 with the game day camps and ensuring that we do our best to ensure that Josh Downs has another successful camp day. We will also later be doing Zaire Franklin's camp as well as Kenny Moe's camp too, right? Later in the summer. Absolutely. Huge things here. We have also partnered with a radio station to be on internet radio, 2 radio stations. So if you can't catch us live,
and Z103, welcome to the Anvil family, baby.
Yeah, those guys. Hey. Thank you for the opportunity. And while we're out at Josh Downs camp, which station will be out there that we'll be working hand in hand with?
Mix 105.
Mix 105. Okay, so definitely, like I said, sign your child up if you haven't, and come out and support Josh Downs and the organization, as well as supporting your boys here at the Sick Podcast Animal Show. We'll also have some members of our Forge Tailgate there helping. We're all one big happy family underneath the anvil. So can't wait to see everyone get out there and really start to kick the football season off the right way. All right, so let's get ready to get out of here. Let's bring up the handles for the X, as y'all say. I say.
You say that.
Psycho.
You just said
why we say that.
Anyway,
you can't help it.
you can find me at Coach Clyde. Period. I'm not even saying where. You can find me at Coach Clyde.
Where? Pornhub? What? Where?
Hey, yo.
Where?
MySpace. CJ. Where can they find you? Black Planet.
You're really dating yourself now.
Farmers only. I'm just kidding.
Christian Mingle. Like
Christian Mingle. Jesus, let me get my life right. That's crazy work.
You can find me on Twitter, because I will never call it X, because Elon is a douche nozzle.
Oh wow.
So you can find me at CJ Colts Talk.
What did he do to you?
He added 2-factor authentication onto my account when I said I didn't want it, and that's the reason why I can't get into my account. So if you notice there's a name change, it's because of the fact that I can't get into my at CJ Colts fan account.
Oh, did you lose all of your followers?
I didn't lose anything. The account is still there. It's sitting there dormant, unable to be logged into. And then
because
also,
you
when
forgot your password.
No, I have to do
Elon's
two-factor.
fault.
I have to.
Are you the guy out there keying all the Teslas? Oh my God, Chris! I am so disappointed in you.
Jesus Christ!
Can you let the man?
Hey, don't say that on here, because you say that to the wrong person and they'll actually believe that.
Yeah, FBI will show up at your house.
Because it's just like some.
Damn
some
you,
people,
Patrick!
This is reverse DEI here. He said that.
Yeah, they have. Some people have jelly beans for brains, but but the thing is, like I said, it's asking for a code generator app. I downloaded a code generator app. They said, oh no, that's the wrong one. So it's just like, oh, okay, so I'm just not going to be able to do this. And there's nobody I could actually talk to about changing the password or doing any of this. So I'm stuck. So yeah, find me on Twitter at CJ Colts Talk. So I'm never going to call it X, because Elon is a turd. So whatever.
Okay, so what was longer, my intro to my round 3 draft, or CJ's reason for why he's now CJ Colts Talk?
It's running neck and neck.
Jesus. Okay, Pat, you still have not renamed yourself. Well, maybe that's a good thing, because you might not be able to get into your account and you will be Big Colts Talk or whatever. I don't know. So where can they find you?
You can find me at Big P Colts.
Yeah, still the worst handle ever.
Okay, so what if I go Colts Big P?
Super bad. Anyway, Sammy, can you put up where they can find us? There you go. You can find us at Sick Pod Colts. Okay, so please, tell a friend, share our stuff. Also, we can be found on Facebook, YouTube at the Sick Podcast Animal Show, as well as Instagram. I said the Instagram. Jesus Christ.
See, look at you. See, you can't help it. You can't help it.
That's what happens when you get old and retired.
I literally almost said the Instagram. What is
the first thing that goes the mind, Chris? I'm telling you.
The Instagram is absolutely diabolical. Anyway, you can find us also on Instagram at the Sick Podcast Animal Show. Wow.
How about this X handle, Clyde? I'll be at Colts Clyde Jr.
Sammy, get us out of here.
Is that a good one? Will that make you happy?
Bye.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast and Bill Show on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.